very, very happy chappy today when I walked over to find out what the unannounced Activision title is. Geometry Wars is back, and it's back in the hands of this gentleman. Nick, how are you doing?
It's not just in my hands anyway. But yeah,
Not a one-man team here.
No, there's a team of us doing that, but yeah, doing really well. It's going down really well. Geometry Wars at Gamescom.
Okay, so Lucid Games, who are you guys?
Well, we're a group of about 30 to 35 developers based in Liverpool, in the UK. We're comprised mainly of ex-Bizarre Creations guys who made the original Geometry Wars series, but some guys from Sony Liverpool made a Wipeout, and some new and upcoming programmers and artists too. So it's a good, vibrant kind of mix of young and experienced.
Well, with getting this license then, I mean, was this always on the cards for you guys? Was it very much, because obviously it's such a revered series and you guys in part are responsible for it. Was it very much like no one else touched this?
Thanks for the pressure on that one. Yeah. It's a franchise we've worked with before, Bizarre Creations. It's something we've always wanted to do something else with. Been talking to Activision for a while about various projects. Geometry Wars always comes up because everyone has a real passion for it. We didn't want to do anything with it until we'd kind of worked out how we'd make it a true sequel and have enough features and gameplay to make it a worthwhile part of the Geometry Wars franchise. So over the last few years, we've worked on some ideas. We've got to where we are now with our kind of 3D grids and our expanded adventure mode. And it felt now that we had something worthy to take it on and become the next Geometry Wars, and that's how it came to be.
So it is 3D. Well, it's still 2D in a way, 2D control, the same control we're seeing Geometry Wars 4, but the actual arenas are 3D.
Yeah, we're trying not to instill panic in the fans of the original 2D gameplay, 60 frames a second, the intense Geometry Wars action. That never changes. It wouldn't be Geometry Wars without that. But we've made the shapes that you play on more kind of tactical and more three-dimensional. So it gives you a lot more options when you're playing the game, but it definitely doesn't detract from what is a classic Geometry Wars experience.
Well, we've only seen a small collection of levels of the 50 that will be in the adventure mode that takes up the single-player campaign. Just curious to know, though, the levels we saw were very tight. We saw cubes, cylinders, peanut shapes. Do you try and keep them small, contained, and dense, or is there larger maps we'll see?
There's quite a variety in the maps you'll see in the final game. We do have 50 of them, and we try to give the player as much variation in style as possible. So we've shown some today that are quite dense, as you say, quite tightly packed. We've got some more expansive ones. We've got some with some unusual shapes. We've got some classic flat grids as well you'd expect from the traditional Geometry Wars franchise. So we try and mix it up depending on the game mode and depending on what kind of variety we want to give the player at any one time.
Now, I was happy to see the leaderboard. The leaderboard stuff is still there, the online friends list and everything like that. But you also have a 3-star system in place now. Can you sort of just discuss a little bit about what that is and why you guys thought it important to include it? Yeah,
because we've got a lot of variety, as we said, in the gameplay, in the adventure mode. We don't just throw it open there and say, here's 50 levels and they're all different, just jump in there, and it's just a bit too much for people to take in. So we've got a simple gate system in there where you need to earn stars by getting decent scores on levels to unlock the next levels and progress through the adventure campaign. It just helps us stage and give the player levels in a decent order and a decent amount at any one time without overwhelming them with information. So it's relatively straightforward to progress, but to master it, that's the skill with Geometry Wars, really.
You're saying, though, as well, anytime you sign in, it'll easily flag up which particular level of friends to be by, just like a sort of like red square?
Yeah, we have like a dynamic grid system. So when you go into the game, you've been on holiday for a week, you'll go back in. All those lovely scores you set the week before suddenly have all been beaten by your friends, and the game's telling you you've been beaten on level 7 by Dave, you've been beaten on level 10 by Pete. So it's got that kind of, gives you that, oh, I've got to get in there and finish it off and then beat those high scores.
Obviously, the music, the score of Geometry Wars is so intrinsic to its DNA. Yeah. How have you guys approached it with Dimensions?
Well, it's dynamic as always. We try and get it to match up with what you're feeling in the game. It's kind of got a classic feel. There's definitely a template from previous Geometry Wars games to kind of start off from there, but it's always high octane, always high intensity, and always making you feel like you're on the edge of your seat and you could die at any moment. So music's a huge part of this game, and it's due attention in this title.
So finally, when can people play it? Where can people play it?
Well, the exciting thing is that it's out this year, which is great, so it'll be out by the end of the year. And the big news for us, and hopefully for fans of the series, it's now available on multiple platforms. So we've got Xbox 360, Xbox One, but also PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PC as well.
Listen, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.